heart can't lose. That's how it goes, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, cool. And just as I start the stream, my cat decides that he wants to jump up on the table. No, go away. Right. Are you sitting comfortably?
I am indeed. Let's go.
All right. Let's begin. Welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. We are bringing you Transformers news from around the world with a uniquely Australian bent in that we are Australian and we like to speak in Australian accents. This is episode 190. We are recording live Friday, the 17th of May, 2019. And Max, is your spidey sense tingling?
Maybe. Yes, it is. Because I just understood what you were going for.
Right, yes.
There we go.
Good.
I'm on the ball tonight.
This worked much better in rehearsal. I don't get it. Oh, we didn't do a rehearsal. Fair enough. Coming up tonight, we have a new Masterpiece Black Arachnia figure that we're going to take a bit of a look at. We're going to show off some of our other collectibles because this is a bit of a light week in news, but there is a Bumbleverse figure doing the round that is creating quite a few waves. We're going to talk about that, all that, and more coming up just a little bit after this. I really hope Brad inserts the opening credits here.
I barely listen to it now. I barely listen nowadays, so he could just not insert them, and I'd never know.
Yeah. I don't listen because I experience it when I record.
Yeah, I know. It's like I listen to the off episodes, and then the ones I'm on, I'm like, well, I was there, so I won't bother. But
yeah.
I could just be complete shit and not know it.
Dear. Yes, look, let's go on in blissful ignorance. All right, shall we?
We shall.
We shall. All right. Welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. I'm Jason. Joining me tonight, we have another 2-up show tonight. We did a 2-up last week. We're doing another one this week. Max, coming to us from Adelaide. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too badly. How are you?
I am doing all right. It's my second weekend in the new apartment since I moved last week. You may have noticed I was slightly upset at having moved when we recorded last week, but it's everything is going a little bit better this week, and yeah, the apartment looks a little bit cleaner. You can actually see walls behind me and stuff. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Have you been up to much Transformers related stuff?
Yeah, a little bit. In that I had the most recent Adelaide Comic and Toy Fair, which was excellent. You know, I was pleasantly surprised to find after the last one where I sort of struggled to get the help together for run the show. This time round, I had I think it was a total of 5 people come up and offer to help out with a stall, which is insane to me because it was a tiny convention. But at the end of the day, it meant that everyone was able to have a pretty chilled time, and the show ran really well. So I was more than happy with that.
Excellent. Good to hear. And a big thank you to the people who came out and volunteered to help you run the table.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just not naming names because I don't know if people like to be named or not.
I'm not naming names because I don't know them.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get on with the show, right? I'm gonna turn on the screen share here and look at that. We are going to talk BotsBots. What am I going to do first? First, before we talk BotsBots, I am going to press back key so that we get slightly more space on screen. Okay, cool. So, Botcha. We're not talking about BotsBots, in fact, although I do have BotsBots in front of me because, like, that's kind of my thing now. We are talking about BotsShots. Which I must say is a mistake that I have seen Brad make in the group as well. He has referred to it as the BotsBots competition, which I suspect by the end of the year it might become a BotsBots themed competition.
Yeah, no, it's I think it's just to see if there's a bit of potential there. You know,
I think so.
By dint of the actual figures themselves, it just opens it up.
Yeah, BotsBots are pretty cool. But BotsShots is our weekly Facebook photography competition where we encourage you to take your figures out of their display cases, out of their protective glass hermetically sealed cabinets, Take them out into the wide world and damage your investments and do weird things with them. We have had people submerge their bots in water just to get a spot in the bot shots competition. So yeah, we appreciate it, even though you may have destroyed a figure in doing so. So without further ado, we are going to go to this week's winner. And as I was saying, I think BotsBots might become a feature of these a little bit more frequently. So this week's winner is Luke Dunn, who took one of the BotsBots that represents a bar of soap. And look, I'm not sure whether or not he was successful in washing his hands with the soapy BotsBot, but
I'll give him the benefit of a doubt.
Yeah, no, that seems fair enough.
So he's done a good go at it.
Good job, Luke. And also, how did you take that photo, I wonder? Think about that for a minute. Just think about it.
I mean, I feel like that left hand is like someone else's hand.
You know, I think you might be right. I think
it's two different skin tones there.
Yes. I think we might have our...
which I think makes it all more impressive, mind you.
Yeah, there's two people crowded in front of that.
Because it meant he had to go through the conversation of just going up to someone and going, "Hey, can you wash my hand with your hand with this transformer, and I'll take a photo of it."
Yeah, can you hold this transformer while I wash it? Well, actually, this is an interesting point. Which one of the hands is Luke's, or is neither of them?
Ooh. Oh, that's good. Just could be like a big staged photo shoot, you know.
It could be the mystery.
Maybe Luke is the BotsBot.
Maybe he could be a sentient BotsBot. Sentient BotsBot come to rule us all. Fair enough.
Is that technically cheating?
I'm not sure what part of that could possibly be technically. Anyway, congratulations, Luke. It's good to see some creative use of the smallest members of the Transformers family, and look, it's also good to see creative use of the largest ones. We've had winners with Fort Max, Metroplex, and Trypticon as well. So the ability to stage a fun photo, it kind of transcends robot size, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no kidding. Probably. It just depends on your creativity.
It does. All right. Well done, Luke. You are in the draw for a prize of some sort. I'm not entirely sure we know what we're doing with the prizes this year, but I suspect someone might be about to donate a BotsBots 8-pack. We'll see how we go. Shall we talk about some news?
We might as well. Let's have a suss.
Let's talk about some creepy crawly news. Masterpiece Black Arachnia. I believe we had a quick look at her last week when there were some showroom floor images, because I remember being unable to pronounce the show that she was shown at. And this week we do have some official photographs which have come out of the Takara Tomy stock listing, and also I think from Takara Tomy Mall.
Yeah, so I think this is the best look we've gotten at it now, because the last couple of shows have just been kind of shoddy images, and now we can fully see the figure in as it's supposed to be seen.
That's right. Yeah, it's kind of surprising how bad the showroom floor images were, but there you go. Look, we're just sort of idly scrubbing through some of the photos here. There has been a lot of discussion about her spider mode this week, which we haven't come across it yet in this photo set, but there's a lot of stuff here. Like, if she can actually pull this pose off, that is quite some balance.
Yeah, no kidding. Some of the articulation improvements we've seen over the course of the last few years when it comes to Transformers have been impressive enough that I wouldn't be surprised if Jesus, I'm out of it. If she was able to do that of her own accord, I mean, probably not the easiest thing in the world, but I think it's certainly not out of a question.
Maybe not. Remember, we did manage to get Masterpiece Sunstreaker to do handstands.
Yeah, true stuff. There's been quite a few really well done things recently.
That's right. And we are on to Takara's kitchen bench photos, which it does look like someone's been making a cake on the kitchen bench and they forgot to clean it this week. But yeah, so that's okay. So what we are looking at for Black Arachnia, or I believe she's called Black Widow in Japan officially. So she's got a very fembot body, which does convert into the body of the spider, and there's 4 spider legs attached to her. Not her forearms, the top of her arms above her elbow, on each side, and that sort of makes for a nice. It makes for a nice sort of presentation of things behind her, making it quite interesting to look at. This is also an extremely impressive pose. I'm not sure if everyone's aware of what this pose is called. This pose is called the cheesecake pose, where she's sort of lying back and sort of one hand on the hip, one arm behind.
It's a bit much, isn't it?
No, but yeah, it is referred to as the cheesecake. So the fact that it's a bit cheesy is good enough.
Is a cultural precedent set there. I feel like
very much.
Have they photoshopped her onto the background in this image? She's not casting a shadow. Her feet aren't really touching any ground there.
It is entirely possible. I would say it's possible that it's just the way that it's lit, but it actually looks like a render in this case.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird photo.
Because every other photo doesn't have quite the vivid purple on the legs, but that one, look at the color of the purple on the legs. It's very different. It might be from a different shoot.
Yeah, I suppose. It could be like an earlier version. Yeah, everything in general on that one seems like a little bit. Saturation seems a bit actually not the saturation. The contrast of the colors seems a bit higher.
Yeah, I actually wonder if she might have been standing on something in the foreground and they've just chopped that out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe. Like, does she come with a display base? Yes, she comes with that. So maybe this particular prototype was flimsy, so they had to hold her up with that and then Photoshop it out.
It's very possible. It's very possible. So look, she's a very very impressive looking figure. And there is the so there's been a lot said about the spider mode over the course of the week, and like the impressive thing about this is the fact that basically the entire feminine body transformer part is sort of compressing down into the body of this spider. This is actually a really good look at that spider. We've seen some photographs over the course of the week that make it look like there's just parts hanging off it everywhere. But no, this looks quite tight and quite compact.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people complaining about this when the show floor images first came out. Just saying that it's a bit, it's not perfect or anything. There's gaps in there. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but I don't know how she could do it really. Like Dinobot and Megatron, Dinobot especially pulled off some serious magic, but I feel like this would have to do so much more than Dinobot to achieve the necessary transformation. So, for what it has to do, I'm suitably impressed.
Yeah, look, even Dinobot had some compromises for as good as the figure is, but I think it's just a case of when you make a beast style Master Beast transformer, there's going to be a few compromises on the animal mode because you can't get that quite sort of unbroken surface. But this does quite well with the symmetry that's required in that as well. There is a web accessory there. So if you were to leave this out on display and forget that you'd done it and then walk into the room, this might scare the shit out of you.
I kind of like how cartoonish it looks. They haven't really gone for some sort of faux realism.
Yeah, I mean, look,
it's quite well done.
The beast modes in Beast Wars were all sort of somewhat hyper realized anyway.
Yeah, so
there's a better look as well.
Yeah, it fits in with the art style exactly, which is I suppose what you come to expect from the Beast Wars masterpiece nowadays. Yeah, you're right there. That looks, in terms of just fitting into that sort of constructed background that gives you the vibe of that sort of slightly plain looking CG of the show. It fits right in.
I have a feeling that these legs might be a little bit more resistive than we think to posing, because that's actually supporting her entire body there.
Which one? What's the? Yeah, I suppose is
so
that all of them?
Yeah, all the legs are actually supporting the body, unless the body is sort of posed on the rock, but it doesn't look like it.
I don't think so.
So if we go back to here, like it looks like the body might be sort of supporting its own weight there in the middle, but that looks much more elevated.
Yeah, I don't want to jump to conclusions there because I feel like I could easily be wrong, but like you can see little, I think there's ratchet indentations on those leg joints as well.
I was wondering about that.
At least on those those central ones, it looks like ratchets in there and then ball joints attached to the body. So I suppose if they're sufficiently tight, spread across 8 legs, it is possible.
Yeah, absolutely is. We finding out when is she due for release? Is it September or October?
I can't remember.
And yeah,
I don't think this thing says. I can check.
So there is an important question here. MP44 is Convoy 3.0. He's coming out in August. 46, if she's due in September or October, that does beg a question of where is 45, and that would be Hound, right?
Isn't 45 Bumblebee?
Is Bumblebee 45? I didn't think we had a number for him yet.
Oh yeah, he's been solicited, hasn't he? Yeah. So Black Arachnia is December.
Oh, December. Okay.
Yeah, MP Bumblebee.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, Bumblebee 2.0 is October, so they're only a couple months apart. Actually.
Okay, so Bumblebee is 45 then. So Hound mustn't have a number yet. I thought he did. Maybe he'll end up being 47. We'll find out. Yeah,
but Hound's just sort of for quite a while now has just floated in the void of no one really knows what's going on with him. He takes breaks from shows for months at a time and then shows back up again with less pain. It's like he's. I don't know no one knows what's going on with that figure.
It's like he's the Benjamin Button of masterpieces. Every time we see him, he's less developed.
It's a shame because that's the one sort of figure in the line that I think looks the best in terms of upcoming releases. It's kind of tragic to see him just following, in movies and games and such. I call it development hell. So it sort of feels like it's the same sort of thing here.
Maybe there's been a bit of controversy over the way that his head works, because it seems to just sort of be out on a long stick and resting on the body. So maybe they're taking a bit of time to re-engineer some of that.
It's but we don't really know, do we? So we'll just find it. But for the time being, this looks like a pretty solid release to close out the year.
I believe the price is coming in at about 200 to 220 Australian dollars.
I could have sworn it was
reasonable. Well, I think so. From some of the conversations that I've had with suppliers or some of our local suppliers, the Aussie dollar is not doing so well. So while some of them might be advertising it for sort of 170, 180, I think by the time it actually rolls around, it's probably going to be closer to 200. And I think if you take, 15,000 Japanese yen, I think eventually that sort of comes out closer to 200, probably once you add some GST, probably 220.
Yeah, I imagine it's the sort of thing where it's going to, the cheaper sources will have it for that sort of high-ish 100s price range, but I think you're all right. It's going to probably wind up being around the 200 mark anyway, which is somehow one of the cheaper masterpieces in recent memory.
Look, I don't think she's huge.
Yeah, that's true as well. What was the scale like on the show? I don't seem to remember being that big compared to Megatron and such.
I've not watched the show, so I don't know.
It's me asking you because I haven't watched it either.
Nah, no idea. All right, let's move on, shall we? There's been a few Studio Series figures announced lately. We were talking about some of these the other day. I think the Studio Series has actually become in the space of a year, we've gotten well over 40 figures in the line. Like, I think that's actually makes it sort of almost more prolific than something like Combiner Wars or Titan's Return. But
it's been
we're up to
massively
43.
successful. And
Yeah,
I'm
really.
I'm glad it has.
So we got 40. So 43 is another retooling of Nitro Zeus, or the Thundercracker mold as it is in Studio Series. Good mold, and this is for some reason KSI Boss, and I'm not sure I even know what the figure is a reference to, but he looks all right.
Yeah, he's all right. The complicated thing here is like, because Nitro Zeus, that CG model was originally one of the KSI drones in Age of Extinction. And essentially it had that head sculpt on the packaging there. It had that. I can't remember which one it had, but it had a different head shape to Nitro Zeus in The Last Night. And then Nitro Zeus comes out as a Voyager, but his head is not movie Nitro Zeus. It's that one that you see there. And so it's kind of a shame here how instead of taking an opportunity to actually make a movie accurate Nitro Zeus, they just like I get going for KSI Boss as well, but it's like if people wanted the pure KSI drone look, then they could just swap the heads between this and Nitro Zeus. So I feel like they've just turned down a pretty strong opportunity to actually make a movie accurate version of him, which is it's a shame to see.
Do you think anyone cares though?
I think I've seen some people care. Like, Nitro Zeus has a small but passionate fan base.
I would posit that if someone is going on the internet and saying, "Oh, they've not got the head sculpt of this figure right," blah blah, they weren't going to buy it anyway. They're just stirring up crap for the sake of stirring it up.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. In all fairness, I wasn't going to buy it anyway.
There you go. Let's hit the microphone there. There you go. Let's take a look. There's one other in-package shot that's been revealed this week, and that is the Constructicon long haul. He's a movie Constructicon, so I barely give a shit. But again, small but dedicated fan base.
Yeah, well, just as a figure alone, I think that looks fantastic. I mean, it seems to the sort of stockiness to him seems to have worked well, in that they've still fit in the full transformation and articulation. So it's really cool to see how that turns out, because I remember the original long haul Voyager was one of the stronger releases in the Revenge of the Fallen line. So it'd be cool to see if they can actually top that of a new version.
Yeah. Look, part of me is happy that they're revisiting the Constructicons and, sort of they're going to complete the set and make a new sort of Studio Series Devastator. But the other part of me is just like, God, I don't care about movie Devastator anyway. So.
Yeah, it's. I think for most people, movie Devastator is just a morbid curiosity.
Well, he's about to become a central part of a lot of people's collections.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. That's a good couple of sightings, but well, they're not sightings. They're coming out later this year. The other sort of piece of official news that I had this week is that the Transformers Legacy book is being reprinted. Now, it's coming out as I believe. So, should explain first. Legacy is a collection of artwork from Transformers packaging, as you can tell by the somewhat spindly and dweebish Optimus Prime featured on the front cover. The curators of the book have managed to get a lot of the original artwork from the Transformers toy line and publish it in a giant coffee table book that you can leave out as a bit of a talking point. Now, this is a soft cover edition of the book that will be out later this year, so a little bit less of the coffee table edition, but still quite fun. Have you picked a look through the book before, Max?
No, I've never seen one in person, but it's a cool looking thing. I think just the fundamental basis behind it, where they actually managed to get a hold of all that original art, is the coolest part to me. Like it's sort of something that you don't really expect that they'd be able to get access to. Anything would be just lost to toy packaging and time, and now it's like no, that stuff still exists, and so they've been able to make it give it some longevity now, which is really cool because this stuff it's historic. Like, this is the first visual representation of a Transformers franchise.
So when I picked the book up, I had a bit of a flick through it, and I was really surprised that it's basically all artwork and no words. There's no explanation of the story behind whichever artwork. I assume it does actually identify the artists or the artist for each of the pieces, but
it doesn't describe characters or the packaging you need on or anything like that.
No, it doesn't. I found it a little bit disappointing in that regard, but also from the perspective of, oh gosh, I'd like to collect this for the artwork, then so I would do that anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of, it go both ways really. I suppose it's a coffee table book where you just want to display the art. It would maybe work better in that sense, but you kind of want, if you're buying a book, you kind of want some substance there.
Yeah, it's not a small book, and yeah, like I said, I was just surprised at the lack of words. But there you go. All right, how about we move on? There's another news story coming with that. I think this one's going to be right up your alley, and that is the Toy World Freedom Leader. A prototype images. Now, this is I believe it's masterpiece scale Bumbleverse Optimus Prime figure, which Optimus Prime in the Bumblebee movie was one of the most impressive versions of Optimus that we've seen on the big screen, and so it is time for all of these toy manufacturers to start trying to approximate his movie appearance in toy form.
Yeah, I think there's no question here that Toy World's done an excellent job. I mean, that's right. That looks simply fantastic.
Is that their Bumblebee as well there? Or is that
that's the 3A version. So what I'm getting from this is, if you go to the next photo, you see him next to the Studio Series 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so clearly, Movie Masterpiece is larger than Studio Series, but not by that sort of magnitude.
No, that's right. He's practically twice. So the Studio Series Optimus is a Voyager, is that right?
Yeah, so it seems to me like what Toy World is doing here is they've directly tried to... They're going for their own scale, but it's a scale of transforming figure to be in line with the 3A versions. Which is ridiculous. Quite cool in my view, actually. That's... because if they can keep up the accuracy to this extent, like, this doesn't seem too far off of, at least sculpt-wise, the 3A Optimus Prime that we saw a little while back.
No, that's quite right, isn't it?
So, they can actually blend the look of the two lines together. That could be quite impressive. We're still a fair way off in their Bumblebee, I think, though, so we'll see how that turns out first.
Indeed. Now, this photo also has a little bonus hidden away in the background, which is a Bumbleverse Ravage shown up there, just prowling around at the back of the shot there as well.
Which does infer certain other character too, so that's quite exciting to see. It means that they're not just... all those teasers they threw out a while back aren't just teasers, they're actually going ahead and trying to make these.
That's right. I love the fact that it's so obviously been placed precisely where it is, just so that it's just out of shot and you can't really see it. And it's obviously been very precisely placed there.
It's a post-credit sequence of toy promo photography.
That's right. I will say this: like, he looks very, very well packed in. Like this rear shot, like there's nothing sticking out or gone to waste or anything. It's very, very well done. Very tidy underside in his truck mode as well. And there's their movie Prime in the background for comparison as well.
Yeah, it's just generally all around impressive. So you look at this thing there, it's obviously not Studio Series scale. It's a big chunky figure from the looks of things.
He does look quite chunky, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, Nate's sort of him next to that Optimus as well seems to confirm the fact that they're AoE Optimus is not in movie masterpiece scale, and it's very much its own thing.
Yeah,
because he's the same height as that, and this guy was significantly higher than what movie masterpiece would be. Which, I mean, in a sense, you can't complain too much because, like, now Bumblebee is a semi its own continuity, and
yeah.
it also
the
establishes like a different scale as well. Like, if you look at the heights of the characters, like Optimus Prime and Bumblebee is about half the height that he was in the 07 movie. So it'd be a pretty big stretch to make the two casts scale together in like studio series or movie masterpiece and have that be accurate in the first place. So why not just treat them as two separate things?
Yeah, indeed. Toy World has been well known for delivering some really very, very well made movie figures or movie based figures. That I believe you've got one of the Toy World movie primes, don't you?
No, I've got the Unique Toys one.
That might be the one I'm thinking of. Then.
Yeah, movie masterpiece scale. And that's fantastic. I think the competition between that version and the Toy World one has been quite a point of contention for some people. Like, so people are of two minds about which one will actually be better. I'm keen to see how the Toy World one turns out, but not necessarily actually pick it up because just scale wise, really.
Just gonna watch it from the sidelines.
Yeah. This though, this whole new exploration into the Bumblebee, what you call it, the Bumbleverse stuff. That is that's quite interesting to see how that pans out. I don't really, especially how the QC on these turns out, really, because having transforming figures is certainly more appealing, in theory, than the 3A versions, especially since they'll probably be cheaper. But I know Toy World has quite a reputation for poor QC at times, so it'd be nice to see them really nail this one at least. Or, this set of figures.
Look, it'd be nice to see it'd be nice to see them really nail this because a lot of people are already quite in there for it as well. So yeah. All right. Shall we move on? One more news story before we stop and have a quick chat about some stuff. And that it is a very quick story. Fans Toys has announced a limited reissue of Phoenix. Now, everything seems to be coming up Jetfire this year. There is a new Generations Jetfire, a Commander class toy that we've not seen before. He is larger than a Leader class and a little bit smaller than a Titan. So it's probably going to come in about the 150 mark, which is probably a little bit lower than where Fans Toys reissue is going to come in. But Fans Toys Jetfire, he's a really great figure. He's a big chunky boy, and you can expect to see a reissue of him in a few months' time later this year.
That's very good to hear. I haven't seen the thing in person, but every bit of feedback I've heard has been positive. So should be cool to see some more people be able to get their hands on him.
Indeed. Now, I need to check. I don't know whether I did not open any further news stories. So that does bring us to the end of the news. Now, how are we doing for time? We've got a little bit of time for a little bit of a chat now because it was a light news week. We decided that we were going to start sort of going through some of the more non-transformery parts of our Transformers collections, and so I suggested that we might want to start with some Transformers artwork, things that we've got in our possession, because I'm going to have to grab that off the. I'm going to have to take a piece off the wall to show it off. If you will, bear with me for a minute.
Oh, that's enough some edit points. Maybe I should grab something as well.
All right. So look, I'm gonna start off here by holding up a piece of art which was actually made by someone who is in TCCA in the discussion group. He is a Melbourne-based artist known as Justin Massaru. He's a great guy, friend of the group. He does a lot of the artwork on the club membership cards every year. So the figures like I think he did the Soundwave and Blaster cards from last year, which are member-only incentives for TCCA. And there's this fantastic print that he's done based on Prowl's box art, but entirely his own artwork, which is fantastic. And I got to say, I purchased a separate print of his work, and he sent this to me for free. And I like it so much, I've framed it and put it up as well. So good job, well done, Justin. And thank you very much for that.
Art style is quite distinctive. I find it's just because it's clearly generally G1, right? But there's there's a certain medium between standard, like the blockiness and a more updated look that he really just rides the line in a very particular way, and it's cool to see.
He does.
I can't describe what it is about his art that sticks out. It's like this indescribable quality, but there's something to it in the shapes of it.
I think it's a sort of a minimal industrial style to it. So like Prowl has obvious pistons and stuff in his feet, but there's only a couple of them. So it's not like a movie verse thing where his entire foot is full of equipment. It's a very minimal amount in there. Do you have anything you want to show off there before I go on?
Yeah, Transformers wise, I want to pick out something interesting. So this is from you, actually.
Oh yes.
The Lost Light #1, signed by Roberts and Lawrence. So that is probably one of the more prized pieces within my collection.
That's good.
You
know the story. You know the story about the signing of that, right?
I don't believe you've told it. Considering it's sitting in front of me, I'm very curious to hear.
So if you look at Roberts' signature, right? So Jack Lawrence's signature is very obviously Jack Lawrence, and Roberts' signature is just sort of like a squiggle. So
quite obviously.
So what ended up happening with this? I didn't realize that this had actually been signed by both of them. And when I purchased it, I purchased a couple of these from Orbital Comics in London. And I thought that they'd only been signed by Jack because they said that they'd had Jack come in for a signing. And so I was like, oh yeah, cool. It's signed by Jack. I'll take it to Sea of Nation and I'll get James to sign it as well. And so I've walked up to James Roberts and I've just gone to him, look, Jack's already signed this issue. Can I get you to sign it? He's like, I've already signed this. And I was like, oh no, that's really, really embarrassing. And he was like, do you want me to do something else to it? I'm like, maybe just write to Max.
What did you originally think your signature was? Just,
do you know what? I didn't.
Jack having a typo.
I didn't even notice the squiggle there because I knew that it was signed by Jack, so I saw Jack's signature and I just glazed over the rest of the cover. So yeah,
that's amazing.
I asked James Roberts to sign something he'd already signed. I'm an idiot.
I mean, I'm sure he could laugh out of it at least. He
did. So something else I got. Let's swap around, shall we? So something else I picked this up last year at TF Nation as well. It is Nick Roche's. It is a print of Nick Roche's cover for Lost Light #25, and he's signed it down there as well. So it's yet another thing that I should probably frame and stick on a wall somewhere. There are a couple of things that Nick was signing last year, but this is just the one that I sort of chose. I'd get out and show off today. And
I love that one. The frame print you have still has the infamous typo as well.
No, it doesn't though. They appear to have fixed it.
We talked about this at the start of the show, and I just missed. I somehow got it confused and.
Fair enough.
Okay.
So do you want to go next?
Yeah. I don't have a lot in the way of artwork. Like the only real other artwork I have would be, just it's a print of Acid Storm that I bought at a convention years ago, and I've never been able to. I tried looking earlier, and I could not find the artist or the source or anything for the life of me.
I reckon you've probably purchased it from Supernova.
Yeah, it was Supernova, which I've learned at later Supernovas means it is very likely a stolen piece of artwork. Because someone's just print.
It's probably not, like,
Because it was.
They'll get in trouble for that.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times at Supernova, but like the other thing is I have no idea where this came from. I can't
have you tried a reverse Google image search on it?
I could scan and do that. So
yeah, just take a photo. Just take a photo of it with your phone, and then do a search for it on Google and see what comes up.
It's not a half bad idea.
Okay.
Only other piece of art I have is the DX9 carry art. So
they put a poster in the box for it. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I think I've got ones. I think I've got a couple others. I'm not 100%, but I just haven't put on the wall yet. But this is one of the nicer ones. Yeah, they put these in their boxes. It's the same deal with Galvatron, Blitzwing, Astro Train, all of that, and they're just really nice pieces of art. I like that they're sort of its own art style, but it does have. I think the way it's shaded invokes that Studio Ox look, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to bump back over to you?
Yeah, cool. I got two more pieces I'm gonna show off. One is some art that I purchased at TF Nation last year from an artist who goes by the alias of Nate Phoenix, which I think we can all tell which scene from the movie, from the '86 movie, this might be in reference to. I do seem to like collecting pieces of art related to this moment. The other piece of art that I purchased from Justin, which is, I'm not sure, it's around somewhere, is also related to this. I'll show it off at some point. And yeah, so I purchased this at TF Nation. The artist, if you follow him on Twitter, he is Nate Phoenix 83. That's 83. And you can also find him on Instagram. That's so Nate Phoenix 83 on Instagram. Lovely guy, and yeah, he puts a lot of effort into putting merchandise into the Forge at TF Nation. And the other piece, which similar to I don't actually know if I can. I don't know if I can figure out who made this anymore. But, I'm pretty sure that I've shown this on the podcast before. It is a lovely, fun piece, and I can't actually see my camera, so I'm just going to assume that I'm holding it up. Okay, there. It is a More Than Meets the Eye cast list done in the style of a Transformers 1984 catalog. So you've got Rodimus and Megatron as co-captains, Fort Max and Overlord there. Got Ultra Magnus. There is one thing that's quite interesting, is that they've managed to put a figure in that represents Rung, although they've called him wrong. But he's I'm not even actually sure what that is. It looks like a third-party wheelie of some kind.
I can't. Mostly, maybe a GoBot or
maybe maybe he is a GoBot. So yeah, so there's.
It's cool to see them do that. In any case,
it is. It's a nice sort of assembly of the toys from across the future.
Next to him.
Yes, I think Drift is actually. Oh no, that's. Yeah, so Drift is. I think Drift is represented by one of the Turbo Masters. I think he might have had a digital recoloring. He's actually popped up in the discussion group on Facebook recently, that figure.
Okay, it's quite. I thought those two are probably the most clever part of this, that he's actually, gone back and found, repurposed them. Well, not the most clever part, obviously, but it's cool to see him go back and repurpose that, and
I think so.
Get all the major players in there.
Yeah,
The art style of it alone looks indistinguishable from actual G1 catalog stuff, which is just insane.
So it's like you can see where they've sort of placed some rock onto what would be a battlefield. It's sort of like, oh yeah, you probably could have put a bit more in there. But like, I have a feeling that this is either a Kickstarter thing or a thing where I saw someone posted on Twitter. I was like, I really want that. Can you send it to me? And I think they did. And I don't know who it was. There's one other thing that I'm going to bring up that I know I've shown this on the podcast before, but it is great, which is Andrew Griffith from his IDW artist did a commissioned piece of Starscream for me.
Oh, that's fantastic. Like,
yeah, just the line art's amazing, and I like it because nobody else has this Starscream print in their collection.
Yeah, that's a cool feeling. That'd be a cool feeling, actually.
It is really nice.
There's a sort of subtlety to it. It's not, like this overblown Starscream look. It's the personality's there, but it's just like nuanced. It's cool.
I really like that he's not sneering or anything like super evil. He is Starscream. Yeah,
he's probably plotting to kill you, but you can't say for certain.
Yeah, like you can't tell. You can't prove anything, officer. So yeah. Look. We just thought we might take up a little bit of time having a look at that. If you are listening to the audio version of the podcast, our apologies, but you can check out the videos on YouTube and have a look at some of the artwork that we've been talking about. Now, Max, do you have any new acquisitions you want to talk about since we last podcasted? It's been a while. Have you got any new figures?
I somehow, despite it being a fair while, I've been slowing down a little bit. Not really slowing down, but more focusing on different areas. And so one of those areas has been Movie Masterpiece. Movie Masterpiece Barricade is a figure that I really loved, but is, in my opinion, the inferior Barricade design. Most notably because he's not in the Last Night version, and there's something always stuck out to me in the Last Night about that sort of trio of Decepticons at the end that you're left with by the end of the movie. Like this cool little crew. It's like a neat little cast of characters, and they're all fairly well known and remembered at this point. So it's like, yeah, I want to get a MPM scale representation of those. And so for Nitro Zeus, there's the really high end knockoff. For Megatron, there's that Unique Toys version coming. But for Barricade, there wasn't really an easy option. So I kind of had to go with just the generic KO. This is just the Studio Series Deluxe upscaled. It is from Black Mamba, though, so it's of a solid quality. But yeah, the only real improvement I can point to is that the chest locks in very solidly. Like on the original one, this would just flap, but here it actually stays in place. Other than that, the tolerances are all good. They're a bit stronger than on the original version. Paint's all there, what have you. But yeah, it's certainly not a Movie Masterpiece figure, but it has, I think, by dint of like the bulk of it and the type of plastic used and just the general design, it has the presence of a Movie Masterpiece figure, but not the engineering. Right, so it's got obviously still a lot of kibble and some fairly limited posability. So he looks good standing there, but beyond that, it's kind of just a filler until some other third-party company actually does what we all deserve and gives us the definitive TLK Barricade.
I see.
I don't suppose you have anything to show off?
I have a couple of bots that I purchased because somebody posted them in a thread on I think it was the Ozformers group chat about two of the figures, and so this dude turns into a shoe, and I think he's called like Soulet or something like that, but he is possibly the happiest bot I have ever seen. Like, look at that grin on that face. He doesn't really have much by way of eyes, except he's got the visor, so that makes him look even cooler. The Sunnies
sell it for me. Like,
I know. Like the Sunnies just look amazing. But like if I do take the 30 seconds that it takes to put him into his shoe mode, like he's got an extremely solid alt mode. Look at that.
That's really well done.
It's really cute, and even better is that it looks like he's even smiling in his alt mode as well. So yeah,
it's like just a friendly shoe as
I
well.
know. Well, it's like a futuristic shoe from like Back to the Future or something. And the other guy that I acquired, let me see if I can do this quickly as well. That is probably close enough. So coffee machine, right? Sorry, I have to do that slightly better there, right? So coffee. Don't know. I think it goes like that. So so coffee machine, and there's even a little power cord hanging out the back of him.
That's attention to detail in these little things.
I know there are, aren't there? It hasn't been localized. It's only got a 2-prong power cable, but that's okay. And now, if I take a couple of seconds that it takes to transform this guy into his robot mode, you will be impressed, right? I present to you Javasaurus Rex. Like he is a little T-Rex that was a coffee machine, and the power cable has become his tail. Like
I can't believe how well done that is.
I know. I love he's even got the stupid little hands that hang out the front for his from his T-Rex. But so I must say a big thank you to whoever it was I was talking with who showed these off, because not only did they show them off, they also said they are numbers 21 and 24 of the Series 2 blind packs. So I found myself in Kmart later that day with there's a full full box of blind BotsBots in front of me. Flipped through them all, found 21 and 24, and just confidently walked to the cash register.
Nicely done.
I
forget that that's these incredibly easy to identify codes.
They are. Not every pack has them. I've noticed a couple of them have escaped the printing process, but interesting. So here you go. But if you are shopping and you do want a particular BotsBot, there are guides around. Just Google BotsBot identification guides for Series 1 or Series 2, and you will find them. So you'll figure out very quickly how to identify a blind packed BotsBot.
Very nice.
I think that's it. I think we're done for the week.
Oh, it's a short, sharp, and shiny.
Short, short. Maybe. I think we're coming in at probably about 50 minutes. So I think we're doing all right this week.
Maybe not so sharp, but
look, blunt instrument, right?
Yeah. What am I saying here? I forgot what I'm saying here. It's been a little while for having. Jesus Christ, I'm out of it. I'm losing track of a sentence halfway through. It's people are a bit out of practice, but I think it's a pretty good show. Right.
Well, it's been fun. I am probably going to be off for a couple of weeks. I'll be away because it'll be my birthday weekend next weekend, and the weekend after I'll be in Melbourne for a friend's birthday. So I'll probably be back sometime in mid-June. But in the meantime, people will hold the fort, and there'll be more Australian Transformers Weekly to consume and listen to in the meantime. But if you are listening to us and watching us live, thanks for checking us out. I don't know if anyone is because it's Friday night. You can find out more about these stories and more on in the show notes. They are on the Transformers Weekly Facebook page, the Podbean site. If you've downloaded this episode in a podcatcher, they're probably sitting in the notes section. You can find us all in Transformers Collectors Club Australia on Facebook, and you can find the podcast's page at Australian Transformers Weekly. We are a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia. It is a registered club in Victoria run by volunteers like us who donate their time and money like us, even though I don't have that much money, to make the club better for everyone. We want to connect Transformers fans around the country, and we do it by engaging the collecting community. You can find out more about the club, including affordable yearly membership options, coming at you from $5 at transformerscca.com. I will also point out that there is a donation drive with some pretty good prizes on offer at the moment. If you're after Masterpiece Inferno, Big Convoy, or what was
there was a reissue in there of some form, I believe.
Yes, I feel like it was a reissue Jazz. I'm not entirely sure, but if I come up here,
it was a decent selection.
Yeah. I'm really quite there for the the figures for the prizes. So there's a encore reissue Jazz there, and the Street Fighter figures as well.
That's why I forgot about it.
Yeah, so Street Fighter figures. There's a third party Megatron, Big Convoy, Masterpiece Inferno, and Encore Jazz. They are all up for grabs. Just $5 gets you an entry into the donation drive. So do come along, throw a few dollars in, and you might walk away with a well sought after figure.
Yeah, always well worth it.
Indeed, and thank you very much to Saviour's Toys at tftoys.com.au for sponsoring the competition for us.
Cheers, guys.
All right, that is it for us. We will be Australian Transformers Weekly will return next week, but I will see you in a few weeks' time. Thanks for listening, and bye-bye.
See you in a bit.